all I can tell you is that the Jets now have lost 3 games under their interim head coach. He's obviously in over his head. They completely looked disorganized in the first half with all the different timeouts on offense, which is really inexcusable.
3 timeouts in the first quarter.
Totally inexcusable. Totally inexcusable. That should never happen. Especially, it's one thing if you have Drake May as your quarterback. It's another thing if you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. And by the way, if your name is Aaron, right now around here things aren't going so well.
Nope.
I will just say that. I felt like if the Jets wanted to have an opportunity to get back into the playoffs, that they had to win yesterday and that they would have to win this coming Thursday night. They would have to win both of those games because they're both AFC games. And right now, when you look at the playoff seedings, it's so fun. You can't even think about playoffs. But just to give you a perspective, the Jets are ranked 15th in the AFC out of 16 teams. That's where they stack up. The only team worse than them right now, record-wise.
Hold on. Let me guess. It's got to be the Titans who got blown out yesterday.
Yes, right? The Titans. And then over in the NFC, and now the Giants still have to play tonight, the Giants, believe it or not, are 14th out of 16 teams. So the Jets,
believe it or not.
So the Jets have
believe it.
The Jets have sunk lower than the Giants in their respective conferences. Well. And this yesterday, I mean, first and foremost, as great a career as Greg Zuerlein has, he's got to be gone. It's the first thing that Joe Douglas and that team have got to do. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care what the situation is. The numbers speak for themselves. The man has had an incredible career. He's been a great kicker, but this year he has cost him at least 3 games. I mean, and at some point it's got to stop. At some point you got to remove that. And I know that they are in the middle of a season and it's basically dumping on one guy. One part of the team is not really living up to what they're supposed to be doing. Like this great defense is supposed to be stopping Jacoby Brissett in one of the worst offenses in football at the end of the game, and that doesn't happen. And with the 2-minute, they also have going for 2, and they take too much time there. They take the penalty. Aaron throws a 3-yard pass, and of course he's going to be tackled. He's not going to make the 2-point play. So you've had so many things go haywire here. And, they're talking about, Jeff Ulbricht's talking about embracing the darkness, and Aaron Rodgers talking about embracing the darkness. Like I told you, and I felt like earlier, if they didn't turn this thing around, these McAfee shows are just going to be the Jet fans not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably tune it out at this point. I mean, there's nothing that he can say that's going to make anybody feel any better. And, he doesn't look the same. There's nothing about this team that's good. Like, you could sit there and focus on, the defense didn't stop him, or the kicker stinks, or the offense. I mean, the entire thing is rotten to the core. And there's one thing that you should learn from this if you're an organization that's trying to turn things around. It was like Joe Douglas was doing a fine job turning things around until other people other than him started running the team. And first it was Aaron Rodgers, then it was Woody Johnson. And now look what you got. I mean, it's pathetic. And that guy was a great general manager. He'd made some good draft choices. He put them in a good situation. Aaron Rodgers came in here, started essentially making decisions who the offensive coordinator was going to be. What dusty-ass wide receiver can we pull off of waivers that I used to play with in Green Bay in 2008? And then Woody Johnson comes in and is like, I think I'm going to fire the head coach that the general manager doesn't want, and I'm going to end this holdout. And now you guys are in this terrible situation where you have to start over again. Now, the one thing Joe Douglas did that created all of this, and shows the same thing with the Giants, is when you whiff on one of those top quarterbacks, chances are you are effed for a decade. Not everybody gets as lucky as the San Francisco 49ers did, and it's more than just luck because it's also coaching and everything else. Where you draft a guy in the top 5, he stinks, and then you get Mr. Irrelevant. That's generally not how it works. When you blow it with the quarterback, you're done. And they blew it with Zach Wilson. The Giants blew it with Daniel Jones, and they're going to go do this all over again.
Well, to the credit of the Jets, they realized that they blew it with Zach Wilson, and that's one of the reasons why they went all in for Aaron Rodgers. It was interesting listening to a couple of the defensive players from the Patriots talking after the game yesterday, saying how he's not the same player. He can't get away from anybody. It's not like that's surprising. I mean, when you're 40 years old and you're coming off an Achilles, you're not going to have the same movement you had prior to that, and you're certainly not 27 years old. I will say the arm still looks lively. The arm still looks great. I don't know what the overall issues are when it comes to play calling. I don't know if he didn't want certain plays and Todd Downing was calling plays, and maybe Aaron Rodgers has the ability to void some of those plays and call his own plays. I'm not sure, but the things that happened to them in the first half yesterday with the timeouts, and then again on the 2-point play with a delay of game, are just completely inexcusable. I mean, and we throw this word around, and this team's thrown this word around more than any of us: accountability. Like, all right, so who do we hold accountable? And to hold somebody accountable is one thing, but what are the repercussions of holding somebody accountable?
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, you've got this roster that's stacked with talent. You're going to start benching some of these guys. Like, I mean, obviously Greg Zuerlein, I think you're right. He'll be done, and that's holding somebody accountable, cutting him and bringing in another kicker who cannot be worse. But I mean, there's really nothing else you can do. I mean, except watch this season continue to die. And I honestly, I don't say this lightly. I'm not just saying this to throw it out there. I really do feel bad for Jets fans. This is just horrendous. Of all the things that they have gone through, and I know it's recency bias, this shoots up right to the top of the list. I mean, getting Aaron Rodgers, everything was in place. Talking to people like, Pat Winters and Sean Winters saying, man, first thing I want is just that home playoff game first. Then we could talk about something. And the fact that, he blows out his Achilles 4 plays in the first year, and then they come back this year and they're actually worse than the team that Zach Wilson led last year is just, it's mind-boggling. And it's unfair and it sucks. And for the young Jet fan who wasn't alive for Super Bowl III, I mean, to go through this again and have your season be dead when you were as high as you could possibly be, it just sucks. I mean, it makes you not want to watch football again if you're a Jets fan. And just, I mean, like Thursday night Jets Texans. I mean, it's like it's still October.
Yes.
On Thursday, it's Halloween.
Yes.
They're done. The Aaron Rodgers-led Jets in October are done. It's insane. And by the way, for the Drake May, and part of the reason why I picked the Patriots to cover on Friday was because I liked the way that Drake May was playing it. He was playing like fast and loose. They were letting him throw the ball down the field. I just thought he's got nothing to lose. He's learning. I was like the stuff he was doing. He gets knocked out of the game. Jacoby Brissett comes lumbering back in. The Jets take the lead, and they let that offense, who is bar none the least talented offense in football, they have an NFL record for the amount of offensive linemen playing for them because of injuries and everything else through the first 7-8 weeks of the season. That's how bad. They have had 6 different left tackles.
I thought...
and they let him go down the field and score with Kayshawn Booty and Ramondre Stevenson.
Who are dropping balls, fumbling balls all over the place.
They had a million drops.
Yes.
And they still went down the field. Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams and D.J. Reed and on and on and on and on and on. And you can't make that up. That Patriots offense, you shouldn't be allowed to be that bad in the NFL. They should just relegate you for having that amount of talent on your team, meaning there's zero. And that offense stuffed it right up your ass in the fourth quarter.
And remember this, that offense didn't take any delay of game penalties.
Oh, my God.
Didn't waste any timeouts on delay of game penalties.
Great point. Yeah.
I mean, it is you can't write it any worse than what the Jets are living right now. I've kind of lived through a season like this, but I could sit here and say new coach, new players, revolving door of players, and we had no idea what the hell we were doing, and we won 3 games in 1995, and it was an absolute crap show. But I will say that, with the amount of money invested in this team, the amount of what we like to think are good players that are not strung together at all, it seems like everybody's out on an island by themselves. And to have this happen this way is just absolutely it's unacceptable. I don't know what you do about it in the moment other than cutting Greg Zuerlein, but I will say that moving forward, and these guys all said it at the beginning of the year. We said it at the beginning of the year. that if this doesn't turn out to be a playoff team, they're all gone.
Right, and Rob Saleh is already gone. I would be very, very surprised. Now, maybe they're not making the playoffs. We know that. Maybe they start playing better towards the end of the season, and then Aaron Rodgers is like, I really want to give it one more shot. Then, Woody Johnson is going to allow that. Maybe that happens, but I mean, it's just not this. The whole thing didn't work. It just didn't work.
You know who I gotta wonder like what he's thinking right now, and that is Devontae Adams. Like, what is he thinking right now? Been here for 2 weeks. He had the big meeting where, he basically told everybody about, what they have to do to win. And I was just thinking about, like, it's got to be like a total shock to him.
Yeah. I mean, he left one miserable franchise and came to another. And at least he's with his buddy, and maybe he'll get more targets, and maybe he'll pad his numbers a little bit. But he's probably thinking, hey, let me just stay healthy the rest of the year. Hang out with Aaron, do what I got to do, and then hopefully, the way my contract is, I can sign on in a good situation for me to try to win a Super Bowl. That's probably what he's thinking. I mean, for them to turn around and have to go back out there on a Thursday night too is just
in front of their own fans, nonetheless. And by the way, Houston's a pretty good team.
I mean, and for it to be the Patriots too is just another. I mean, for 2 decades. The Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, New England Patriots used the Jets as the gum on the bottom of their shoe. And here are the Jets. I mean, here are the Patriots without Bill Belichick in a total rebuild in a week where there was almost a mutiny in the Patriots locker room because the coach called them soft. They have the single worst roster in the NFL. And that is the team up there in Foxborough again that essentially ends your season. It's cruel. It's cruel.
Don't forget about the Panthers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Panthers are pretty bad.
Yeah, you know what they are.
But I do agree with your assessment of the Patriots that their roster is, especially their offensive side of the ball. The offensive side of the ball has been a revolving door at offensive line, wide receivers that legitimately can't catch the ball. I mean, how many times were they hit in the hands yesterday and dropped the ball? I mean, and somehow the Jets ended up finding a way to lose. And Rob, what's Jeff Ulbrich and Aaron Rodgers could talk about embracing the darkness and all this other crap. You know what? Jet fans have been embracing the darkness for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And every year, like loyal fans do, they show up and they believe and they think this is going to be the year. And we're sitting here now after 8 games, and I cannot believe that I'm sitting here talking about the Jets being 2-6. Yeah, it's almost impossible for a team that has this much on paper talent, with the exception, maybe the kicker is a little bit different. Maybe they have 4 wins, maybe they have 5 wins. Who knows? But the fact that they end up losing, and by the way, there were 5 games yesterday that ended all in the last minute with the winning team scoring within the last minute, which is crazy.
Yeah,
which was absolutely crazy. And Jacoby Brissett looked like Tom Brady on the last drive, for God's sake.
I mean, and we know he's not good. He's been a serviceable quarterback. He's a guy who comes in, helps a franchise out during a transition. But I mean, it's gone from it's hilarious now. Actually,
and by the way. So the Jets are Thursday night, national TV. Then they go out to the Cardinals. That's a 4:25 start on CBS. That's supposed to be the national game. And then after that, they have a primetime game against the Colts.
Is that Sunday Night Football? They got to flex that thing out. I don't know when they're allowed to start doing that. They cannot put that game on Sunday Night Football. You just can't. You can't do that to your network. That would be.
And that's another home game, by the way.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to be in another offseason where
we're looking at the draft.
Right. The Jets and Giants we're talking about where they're ended up and what quarterback could come in here. And you hope that one of those 2 franchises gets C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels or, Caleb Williams took a while to get going yesterday. But, something like that. That's the hope. Again and again and again and again.
This is, with a new coaching staff, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. So I do think I would I still think that Daboll and Shane are going to be here, but there's no way. I mean, there's going to be
we got a long way to go.
It's true, I know, but I mean, I'm just projecting the fact, and John Mara and everything else. I feel like those guys are going to be here. We know that there's going to be another coaching staff. There's going to be another general manager. They're going to be resetting at the end of this year, barring. I mean, there's going to be a new coach no matter what, but I mean, unless Aaron's like, you know what, I can't go out like that, Woody. Give me one more chance, and then Woody's like, okay, Aaron.
Yeah, but who's the coach?
Whoever he wants it to be. You know what I'm saying?
You can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you do that. It's almost impossible.
RFK Jr.
Yes, I was trying to keep it like within like 3 to 4 weeks, saying, okay, here's your path, here's your path, here's your path. Yeah. But that's assuming that they were going to win on Sunday.
Yeah. Well,
and once they lose that game and they walk off that field dejected, like you realize how many more AFC games can you lose? How much bigger of a hole can you climb into?
Well, they're just not good. You know, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. They're not a good team on either side of the ball, and they've got no business thinking about going on a stretch where they win 5 just like they lost 5 in a row.
I mean, you have the Chargers winning yesterday. Baltimore lost. So this Pittsburgh game is huge tonight for Pittsburgh to retain the hold on that AFC North division. Denver won yesterday. Indianapolis lost, and the Bengals and Dolphins lost. I mean, the biggest winners yesterday are probably the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and that was really wasn't much of a test for them yesterday.